I want to show you how to create a Java GUI that you can browse Reddit. You can write a subreddit name, and you can scrape the top headlines of that subreddit. It's really simple. I created last night, so I want to show you in a video, in a tutorial, how to create it. When you create the project in your IntelliJ or any other Java IDE, what you want to do is you create a class. I will call it Reddit, but obviously you can call it whatever you want. So I'm using a Swing GUI. I'm not using Java FX. Because I'm familiar with the Swing. I'm not that familiar with the Java FX. So when you create the class, all you have to do is to extend JFrame, and JFrame will give us a window and a nice GUI for us. Then what you would do is you would create a constructor. But before that, I already created the class last night, like I said. So what I want to copy all the fields here, and I will explain it to you one by one. So the first field is the main panel, which all the components would live inside, and this is the text field where the user would type the subreddits. Here is the search, the button that when the user clicks, the program goes to Reddit and scrapes the headlines. And here in numbers is just a way to number the headlines. And this is also another JButton array, which will hold the different headlines each subreddit has. Also here, votes is also a JLabel array. This would hold the votes each thread on Reddit gets. So it will hold the different threads. Also, all the arrays would have 28 elements. All of them would have 28 elements. Basically 28 different headlines and their votes. Here is the title of the subreddit that the user chose, just like you see here. So also I want to copy the constructor here. I want to copy the constructor, and I will explain it to you, each one. And paste it. So here is the constructor, where the constructor begins. Here in the main panel that we created above here, we have to set the layout to null, because we want to set each component exactly where we want. Here is the method that we haven't yet created it. That's why it has a red background color. And here is the title of the subreddit. We set it to false, visibility to false, because we don't want to show the subreddit title before the user chooses a subreddit. After the user chooses a subreddit, we want to show it, the title. Here they want us to import the action listener class. and all you have to do is press Option and Enter if you are using Mac. And here is the search button, the button that you would click after you type your subreddit. You add action listener, and it gives you this method. It's called action performed. After the user clicks the search button, the title would be visible again, and we will get whatever here, we will get whatever the user typed in the text field, and we will store it in the string field. Here in the title, we will clear the title. Maybe there is a text before, we have to clear it. Then we will set it whatever the subreddit that the user typed to the title field. Here is get subreddit. We haven't created yet. That's why they are giving us the red background color in the method. After the button action listener ends, here is this method add belongs to the JFrame that we inherited, that we extended here. This class JFrame. So we are adding the panel to the frame. Basically, we are adding panel to the window, to the JFrame window. We are setting the title of the window, which is Reddit. You can omit it if you want to. It's not necessary. Here, set size. We are setting the size of the window. It is 900 pixels wide and 600 pixels high. Here, set default close operation is basically what happens when you press the X, the red circle in your program. So basically what we are telling to the operating system, whenever the user clicks the X button, just terminate the window, basically close down the whole program. And lastly, in this constructor, this method set visible to true. We make it visible the window. If you omit this one, nothing. You will not see anything. So we go back to the GitHub account, GitHub page. So we will copy set component method. You'll copy this, and I will paste it, and I will go back to the beginning of the method, and I will explain it everything. Here I created a public method which is static. The reason I chose static is because I don't want to create an instance of the class in order to access this method. So that's why I can access it here in the constructor. Then I said set components. Then I said JLabel red. This is the label, the JLabel, which the icon of Reddit will be inside. So we don't actually need this. We don't need this. So after we create a JLabel, here we set the bounds of the label, basically where the label would sit. where the label would sit inside the panel. So the panel will sit 10 pixels from the left side, 10 pixels from the upside, from the top, and it will have 100 pixels wide and 100 pixels high. Then here they give us error for this method because we haven't created Resize Reddit icon or logo. We haven't created that. That's why they are giving us the red background. Here in the main panel, we are adding to the label to the panel. Otherwise, the label and the logo inside it wouldn't be visible. Here in the text field, we are setting the position of the text field. It would be 160 pixels from the left, 20 pixels from top. It would have like 250 pixels wide and 30 pixels high. So the reason I chose 160 is because I want to give room to the logo. So basically the logo would be here, right? And the text field would be around here. So I have to give, this is space in order the label and the logo to have space. Also, we set the search button's position. It will have 415 pixels from the left, 23 pixels from top, and it will have 85 width and 25 high. So basically we set the background of the text field. We need to import the color class, and also we set the background of the search button. We set the opaque to true. We set the border painting to false. If you don't add this method to the button, you will not be able to change the background of the button. So basically, we set to dark red to the search button, and we set the text color to white, and we gave a border. So it's really simple. Also, like here, I created an integer y equal 120. The reason I created this variable is to increment the y-axis of the buttons. Here we are creating the numbers of the headlines. So, for example, the first number, it would set 20 pixels from left, and I said y, and the y value is 120. So it will set 20 pixels from the left side and 120 pixels from the top. The first button would have that x and y axis, right? But it is not just one number. It is 28 of them. So if I'm using a loop, I want to add, I want to give them spaces between them so that they would be top of one another. So the second number would be 20 pixels, and 120 plus 40, it would be 160, right? It would be like 160 pixels. It would have 40 pixels wide and 30 pixels high. So basically it's to space between them, to make a space between the buttons. Otherwise they will be top one another and you can't see the different buttons. That's why I use the Y in order to increase the Y axis dynamically. I hope it helps. So I set the background of each color to dark red, and I set the background of the text to white, and I gave them a border. So it's just really simple. It's the same thing as we saw in the search button. And here we add the main panel. We add all the buttons to the main panel. And in the headlines array, we created the same way we did in the numbers array. We created a y2 variable, which would start 120 pixels from the top, and the first button would start 70 pixels from the left, and the y would be 120 pixels from the top. It will have 650 pixels wide and 30 pixels high. I chose 650 because I want to fit the headlines to fit all the buttons. Otherwise, the text will be cut off. So it's the same thing. You create the background, you set the text color, and you add it to the main panel. And each time the loop runs, you increment the y-axis to 40 pixels, so that it goes to the next button. And here, in the voters array, we created a y3 variable, which would start 120 pixels. And before I go to the for loop, I create a title for the votes each thread gets on Reddit. So you can see its number of votes, and I set the font, the text color, where the label would sit. It would sit 755 pixels from the left, 70 pixels from the top, and it will have 120 wide width and 30 pixels high. And after that, we would add to the main panel, to the title, the voter title. After that, we just create the votes array the same way we did last two. So here, in the text field, we set the text field text color to white, and we set the title of the headlines border, and we set where the title of the headlines would sit. We set the font to Arial. It will be bold, and it will have 18 font size, and it will have the title would be title's color would be white, and we add the title to the main panel, and we set the background of the main panel to red, and we added also the text field to the main panel. We added the search button to the main panel. So if we go back to the GitHub account, here in the get subreddit method, we just copy this, we copy this and we paste it. We paste it here. We just created a static method, and we call it get subreddit. This method takes a sub name as an argument, and we create a try catch statement. Then I am using JSoup library. If you haven't downloaded that library, go to Google and type JSoup for Java and download it. After you download it, what you would do is, if you are using IntelliJ, you would go to File and you go to Project Structure, and I don't know why it's not coming. Okay, now it's coming. And you would go to plus, you say Java, takes a while for me, I don't know why. So I'm going to downloads, and I'll just look for JSoup. After you find the JSoup that you downloaded, you just say open. Then hopefully now it's in my project. After that, what you would do is you would go to the document, then you will press Option and Enter. You have to be careful. Some classes are similar. Some class of JSoup are similar to Java's classes. So we say import classes. What you want is document that has org.jsoup. You don't want these other documents. You want the first one. Then you would go to JSoup, Option Enter, then Elements, Option Enter. Again, you go to Import class. There are different elements. What you want, the first one, which has JSoup in it. And after that, I think all the imports are done. I think so. So let me explain the code here. After you create a try and catch statement, what you would create a document. This document would represent all the elements in the page of Reddit, or all the elements in that subreddit. So what we say, you will say jsoup.connect, and the URL would be, in my case, old.reddit.com, and then I add r/, and whatever the user passes as a sub, we add it to at the end of it, so it will get that subreddit. After this document, after we get the subreddit, all the HTML information about the subreddit, all we are interested in the title of each entry, each thread in that subreddit, because the HTML could have thousands of different links on Reddit. What we are interested in only is the titles of the threads, and also we are interested in the votes each thread gets. So I saved it in EL as for the titles, and I saved it score for the votes each thread gets. Here I created two variables, I and j, and I am iterating through these two different arrays, the titles and the scores, simultaneously inside the for loop. We will start I will start 0. Remember, I would keep track of the titles of the threads, and j would keep track of the score. So I would start 0, j would start 0. I would go through as long as it is less than the size of the titles. Then we say and here. You don't write semicolon as you are accustomed to it in Java. You say and you say j is less than score.size. So as long as the titles is exhausted and the votes are exhausted, this loop would run, and then we increment I and j to 1. Then after we created the for loop, we store the headlines, each button, to the title. We say headline is I that set text to el get. It will get it will start the first title, and it will get the text version of that, and it will start it in the headlines buttons. It will be the same for the votes, and it will store it each button for it is score. So that would be it for the for loop, and as long as there's no errors, this for loop would run, and it will set all the titles and the scores. And if there are errors, it will print it to the console. And lastly, we want to copy this method, these two methods, and we will paste it here. The first method is called Resize Reddit logo, and it will take the JLabel, a JLabel argument, which we would store the image inside, and we create a try and catch, because we don't know if the icon is available or not. So that's why I'm using try and catch. So you create image icon, and image icon would take this image icon. So make sure inside image icon you have a file name. I'm using .png, which is here, as you can see. It is the Reddit logo, and it is inside the source folder in my class. So after you put the image inside the image icon, what you would do is, in order to fit the image inside the JLabel, you would say get image, get scale instance, and you will scale it to whatever number you want. I'm saying 120 width and 120 high. It actually depends on your choice, what kind of dimensions that you want. As long as the image fits inside the shape panel, you can change this number, and you will say image scale default, image.scale default. So after you create image icon, you would set the label, which we passed it here, to the image icon, and you just catch it, whatever exceptions there are. And lastly, here is the main method, which would run the program. So let's run our program and see if our program works. Say run. As you can see, this is the picture, these are the numbers, this is what where the headlines would live, and here are the votes. So let's search the news sub, and see what happens. So you can see all the headlines alongside with the votes each thread gets would be scraped from Reddit. Let's go to learn programming. So you can see the titles changed, the votes changed. Let's go to learn Python. So you can see, like, as long as the sub exists, it would scrape all the headlines and it will display it. And this GUI is not complete. It needs a lot of work when it comes to validating the subreddit's name, and I haven't did that. But if you are interested, I would complete it. So thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, let me know. And all the code would be in the description below, and it will be in my GitHub account. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.